The Match Ball.
Hello there. Oh, that's better, isn't it? Welcome to The Match Ball. Streaming it live on YouTube for our TSB Plus subscribers, and you can catch the audio and video versions afterwards. Keep an eye out for those. Dan, Michael and Moscow with you here on The Match Ball. A sigh of relief. First of all, we need to mention Levi Solicitors. Thank you to those guys as well for supporting us and enabling us to bring you all this nonsense. 10% off your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. We've won a game of football. That's much better than not winning games of football. Don't you agree? Even though it got a little bit hairy at times, it was a well-deserved win.
I mean, it didn't. They were terrible, weren't they? It was nervy because it was only 1-0 and it was going into the last few minutes and they had some of the ball. But, they didn't... Did they create any chances?
No.
Thanks, that's the end of the Match Ball. Join us next week.
They were crap though, weren't they?
Yeah, they're terrible.
Was the gist of it. I mean, they were at no point threatening us.
No. It was... so last week we played the West Hams, didn't we? And they were... And it was an interesting match to kind of watch Rodrigo off the ball and see the runs he was making and the different movements and how we were lining up tactically. None of that this time because Watford were just atrocious, so we attacked them all the time. And that's where it moves from just being, Watford were crap, into Leeds were really good, because although we only scored the one goal and it did come from a corner and it would be nice if we would shoot the ball into the net more often, we didn't really let them get into the game at all, and there was no real question of them getting anything out of it apart from the bit at the end. But then I think the last 10 minutes or so were probably self-generated by, it was more Leedsness than any Hornetness.
Hornetness. I mean, yeah. What they were, I was actually slightly taken aback by how bad they were, because there was some talk before the game about, how Sarr would be dangerous and all this sort of
Rubbish.
stuff, and he was just he was just basically crap.
Garbage. Danny Rose, he looked like he just couldn't be bothered with Rafinha. Rafinha was so good. I think he, in the first 15 minutes, I was trying to stop him is going to be a right hassle. Now let's leave him to it. Then there was definitely a moment in the first half where Rafinha was kind of doing his dancing feet and swaying side to side, and Danny Rose was like, if you want to go past, it's fine. You don't have to do all this. Just go. I'm not going to stop you. But the whole team's like that.
Yeah.
The number of times he just passed the ball out of play, and for all that we've not won a game this season until now, we've never been that bad, have we?
No, nothing like.
Watford were terrible, though, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some good things that we did as well. Because Jamie Shackleton was very good. Cooper was good. Llorente was good. Nice to have him back. The whole defence was good, and it was dead easy to be good because Watford were terrible. No, I thought everyone played pretty well today. I thought Dan James had his best game for us so far. Rafinha was good. Clicker and Dallas were pretty decent, apart from the shooting, which was a bit of a frustration.
Yeah, it was a bit sloppy in places, but I think we spoke about this in the build-up to this. I know we brazenly predicted a 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 win, didn't we? But when it came down to it, it was always going to be that slightly edgy, narrow win when we're coming off the back of a 6-game, not losing streak, but unwon streak, if you like.
An unwinning streak.
Yeah, that's the word, isn't it? The technical word for it.
I mean, it needn't have been 1-0. There were so many chances. Your boy Tyler, very unlucky with that.
Don't know what he could have done better with that one.
No.
I think even the first one was, I think it deflected off a Watford player, and I think it was like a diving header. They tried to put Tyler's shot in, and then it was cleared off the line, and then I don't think anybody saw a bicycle kick off the bar coming from that moment.
That wasn't it, rather than a bicycle?
I mean, it was just pure quality. No, it was. So that was good.
It was a good win, I think, under the circumstances, because it's been very wet today. The surface was very slick. I don't know what it was quite with Rodrigo. I was just willing him to get the ball under his control at some points.
It's a lot of them, really. They just need to. The lot of them makes it sound like we were terrible. Shoot, just shoot. I like the idea and the fact that our players can trap a 70-yard pass on their instep and roll it back for somebody to shoot. But it's not. That's good. But then maybe when it's a 5-yard pass, You don't need to roll it back across and give somebody else a shot. You can just have the shot straight in. But then a lot of the shooting, when he did come down to shooting, did go over the bar. Stuart Dallas being a particular culprit. So it's kind of frustrating. But I welcome that. And I welcome that the last 10 minutes were a bit dicey and that, they had the ball in the net and all that kind of stuff, was because it just it did add to the feeling of getting ourselves out of something. It might have been nice to win 7-0, but we'll do that. Who are we playing next?
I don't know.
How do I not know this?
Is it Norwich?
We've got Wolves at home in a couple of weeks.
We'll beat them.
Norwich and Burnley 0-0 today. Relegate them both off the back of that. They don't deserve to be in this league.
And Norwich lost to Watford.
Did they?
Yeah, 3-1. So Watford's wins this season are the opening day. Yeah, the opening day. They beat Aston Villa 3-2, and they beat Crystal Palace, but that's the EFL Cup, and then they beat Norwich away 3-1, and that's just, I think that tells you how terrible Norwich must be, because if that's the standard of 2 wins got these Hornet charlatans up to, they're still 13th, which is fine. If we finish 13th, that'd be great. But, I hope we do it with more than 2 wins. But yeah, if that's all you need to do to get to mid-table and to be that bad, we'll piss this league.
In truth, this is the first game that we've played where you go, we have to win this one. Like Newcastle away, I know people were saying it, but, they're not.
We should have.
We should have won that, but Newcastle are not absolutely awful. They're not a team that will definitely go down. Watford, Norwich, those games at home, you have got to win those, and we have. And we did it comprehensively. I know the scoreline will say we didn't, but we did.
That's it. Newcastle, we let Saint-Maximin kind of do his thing. He was the danger player, and he proved it with a goal. Whereas, what's his face? Sarr, rubbish. So that was easy. And he goes through the list. I'm sorry, I know everyone wants to hear about Leeds United more than anything else, but it was astonishing. Sissoko playing as a defensive midfielder, garbage. I don't know what he thought he was doing for most of the game. And compared to, we were saying that Calvin Phillips hasn't been top form in the last game, and there were a couple of wayward crosses, whatever, it doesn't matter. But this guy, it is the Tottenham one. He's supposed to be good.
They had Tottenham's Danny Rose as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and so I've already covered Danny Rose looked like just didn't want to be bothered with Rafinha, but yeah, he's trying to, I don't even know if that's what you call protecting a back four. I don't know. And the number of times they just passed the ball out of play, and the number of times that there was one in particular in the second half when Rodrigo there was a pass into him in the middle, and it was a really bad first touch from Rodrigo, and you think, Rodders. But they just went and got the ball anyway because there was no Watford player tried to get it. So right, fine. Actually, don't worry about it, Rodrigo. Do what you want. Easy.
There was a lot more space in midfield. I noticed that. There was just that big gap where teams have been running from deep and catching us out. There's just none of that, was there?
Too far.
Yeah. They're giving you the man with the little telly. You already mentioned it. Their disallowed goal, what was it disallowed for?
I've got to also give a little credit for Ryan from the Pigeon Inspectors and LS11 podcast, because he fixed my little telly before I even got there, so that was good. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see anything. The goal was disallowed because one of their defenders was basically sort of dragging Liam Cooper to the floor by his neck.
Okay. But then Meslier made a mess of it as well.
Sort of. Meslier, he kind of palmed it downwards. There wasn't really a lot of pressure on him. I think if it had stood, you would have said it was a Meslier mistake. But when the ball was going into the net, there was a replay from behind the net, and Meslier is kind of sliding in after the ball, and he looks really cool. So I think even if the goal had stood and it cost us a point and we'd gone into the international break without a win, and that's 7 games without a win on the board, I still would have said, well, he's kind of styled it out. And I wouldn't have held it against him.
Styled it out.
He did that header as well, didn't he? That was fun.
Yeah, that was... I mean, the things that were happening towards the end of the game, you had Meslier running out of his box doing headers. We had, let's give them a foul throw. Well, it's a defensive throw. Watford, you want to turn it into an attacking throw? Well, why not? And then Llorente with that really good tackle, and he goes down screaming because he's twisted his ankle, because obviously what we needed 5 minutes from the end was a Llorente injury, because I think people had forgotten by that point. First half, you get through it and you're like, oh, Llorente's not going to hurt himself today. And then just when everybody's really anxious about the result, no. But
I said that to the bloke next to me. I said, we've had our 85 minutes out of him now, another 3 weeks out.
But he looked fine by the end.
I think that was another thing as well. There's an element of game management in that too. Like, he was going down just to slow the game down.
Little Telly, his ankle did kind of go.
Oh, right.
Round.
Was it Strauch that did that? Because he'd come on almost by this point. You might have seen him getting ready over on the touchline.
Yeah, I thought he'd give him a chance. There was a good...
the Uri Geller of ankles.
Yeah.
I will always give Tyler Roberts the credit, but I think when it got quite ping-pong in our penalty area, he did do a very good job of taking a big old foul and staying down from it on the break, and he was clever for that moment, so he deserves... There's the two good things that he did was the bicycle kick / other kind of kick.
Scissor kick thing.
Scissor kick. And that clever foul and staying down, and that cross in for Rafinha was close. He couldn't have really done anything else. The one where he broke down the right. And that was it. There were lots of those that were Watford, although they didn't seem any good and didn't seem very arsed. They were sort of quite determined not to just like give a goal away very easily. So it was a good block from their defender getting across for that cross. I don't know what else could have happened from that situation unless the ghost of Viduka appeared at the front post and lashed it in.
What I didn't get about the way that Watford approached that game was they were attempting to slow it down from the get-go, and we were obviously one in front. What was it, 20 minutes we went in front, and then they still kept trying to slow the game down. Why?
Because they're rubbish.
It was a plan, and they stuck to it rigidly, whether or not they needed to score or not. There didn't seem to be any urgency. I know often in games like this, it feels like teams bang a load of pressure on in the last 10 minutes. Even no matter how bad they've been, they'll stick centre-backs up front and they'll knock it in the box, and you still have that panic, which we didn't actually have. And like the 4 minutes of injury time went up, and I was panicking enough that I set the stopwatch on my phone so I could just keep an eye on it.
Do you know what's funny about that? Is that after he put the board up, I think something happened, and I kicked myself for not doing the same.
Yeah.
I thought about it afterwards. I thought, I should have timed this.
And I looked, and it was 4.5 minutes gone, and I was like, oh, we just got to... I think they had a free kick, and it's like, we just head this away.
Like rugby union,
head this away, and we're fine. We're home.
Yeah.
But no, it was a big relief. I think was that. It's hard to have enjoyed it enormously, because if we should have won, we know we should have won it by more. And
yeah, I mean that's the point though. If we get that second, we run away with it.
Yeah, and we should have had the second in the first half. I can't remember the chances now. Dallas had a couple from the edge of the box. Rafinha had one where he went a little bit. He went around the keeper, but it was really wide, wasn't he? And he couldn't quite squeeze it in from there.
There was that click, the click volley at the sort of the top near corner that was close.
Yes, that
was quite an exciting one. And there was also the Dan James penalty that I would like to know where the VAR was for that one.
Can I just bring the little telly in?
Yeah.
Because you would have seen a replay of that. My mate, who's watching it over in the Middle East, says Middle East commentators reckon that was a penalty, and he did too, but he's a Leeds fan, so.
It looked worth of sending the referee over to have a
number Johnny
look at his big telly.
Look at his bigger telly. Yeah, it's kind of nobody's on the ball. That's the thing. It's kind of the ball is running away. Dan James is trying to run towards it, and the defender puts himself across Dan James, and his all arms are up in little Daniel's face. Puts him on the floor, and Dan's all like, "Ugh." And I don't understand how.
Get off me!
And then the ball's over there.
Yeah,
and it's weird. We don't have the full picture or the full audio of what the referees and the Stockley Park people all discuss, and whether they were just like, nah, it's fine. Because we only have the evidence of that one Australian game where the referee was mic'd up. The one is
Jared Gillett.
Jared Gillett.
Yeah.
Where it sounded like they're all the guys. Oh, did you see that one, mate? Yeah, that's a foul, mate. Go and have another look at that one, mate. Whereas we don't know if that's what happens over here, and you'd like to assume it does, but then you do wonder what the conversations are like around that one. Where it's like, I didn't think that was a penalty. Can you see anything on the replay? My eyes are burning. Oh, I have no idea. The telly's on the blink. I don't know what other excuse they had for saying, no, you don't need to have another look at that one.
What did you make of little Danny James's game overall? I thought he was good. I thought he was threatening today.
I thought he was good, and I thought he pressed really well. Got behind him. He was thrown around an awful lot, actually. They did treat him like a little rag doll at points. just completely lobbing him to the floor and barging him out of play and stuff. But I thought it was good. I thought it was threatening.
He's good at, I mean, I hate to use the term drawing fouls because it feels very uncouth.
Call him a cheating scum bastard like we used to.
What he's good at, the little scum diving, is cutting across the man, and he knows that if they touch him, he can go down. And I mean, there was a bit of roughhouse treatment for him, but
they're always happy to touch him.
Yeah.
I mean, the penalty, it looked like he'd got the wrong side of the defender, and the defender had, for want of a better phrase, just Liam Coopered him. Just thought, well, I've got to stop him somehow, and I'll just do it. I'll just sort of fall. I'll pull him a bit and then drag him and fall onto him.
That's the other side, is that the Liam Cooper one, just outside the penalty area, was a little bit Liam Cooper-ish.
That was a foul.
Yes. No, it wasn't. No.
There was a very awkward silence went around the stadium, as if everyone knew he'd got away with one. It was a bit of a...
If none of us says anything,
it was outside the box.
Won't notice. It was outside the box, and it wasn't the worst.
Bit Cooperish.
It was exactly what it was his one per game. But then it was after the one that they didn't give on Daniel, so it was kind of, well, if you're not going to give that, you can't give this. There was maybe an element of that, but it was just a little bit. But they wouldn't have scored from it.
No, that's true.
So it was fine.
I'm glad you made that confident assertion. Do you agree with me that there was a sense of almost down to business today? That the atmosphere in the run up to it, I don't know if it was the weather, because it was absolutely chucking it down in the hour before the game kicked off. So whether that subdued the atmosphere a little bit. I'm not saying it was a flat atmosphere, because I thought the atmosphere inside the ground actually was pretty good, all things considered, particularly late on when it felt like Leeds were tiring and they just needed that lift from the crowd, and it came at the right time. And for the benefit of anybody who wasn't inside the stadium, there was a lot of people stayed behind afterwards as well to applaud them, and the team all stayed out and said, well done, thank you, etc. But it did feel a little frisson of tension, maybe in the run up to it, a little bit flatter than usual.
Maybe a little bit, but I mean, I always think away fans contribute massively to an atmosphere as well.
But there weren't any. And
Watford, Christ almighty. I remembered how much I was annoyed at Watford beating us at the playoff final then, when they didn't even sell all the tickets and they turned up and they won and none of them gave a shit. And I remember thinking, what is the point of you even getting promoted?
I remember going back to Cardiff train station after that game and being sat on the platform and the trains to the Watford part of the world, wherever that is.
Hertfordshire?
Hertford, yeah. The trains that they were getting back, they were on that platform, and then the Leeds fans were all on this platform. Which was probably a sensible measure, all things considered. And I remember both platforms being like deathly silent. They just walked out like they'd just been to see, I don't know, a nice film or something like that. It's like, come on, if this was us going up, we should be destroying this train station.
There was definitely a song, 70 minutes from them, because I made a note of it, because this was the first time I'd heard
They
them.
sang about Danny Rose.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I can probably tell from where I was. But I know when I'd completely forgotten they were there. And then when we scored, I saw the bit that was away fans last time cheering, and I thought, oh shit, has it been disallowed? Then
we got sort of the front of the West Ham.
Then I realised that was Leeds fans, and it was fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, what's the point?
The little telly view. I'm staring at the bell. If you want to ring it.
Oh, sorry.
Was they tried scanning across the away end in the last 5 minutes as if to see any excitement, any tension there. Just standing there watching. Nobody seemed to particularly care if they won, lost, lived, died. Ben Foster played in that 2006 final.
He did, yeah.
What crazy lineup. Malky Mackay, Lloyd Doyley. This is all their players. JD Merritt, Jordan Stewart, James Chambers, Matthew the Turncoat Spring, Gavin Mann, Ashley Young, Marlon King and Darius Henderson, with Alec Chamberlain on the bench, who goes back to, if you're listening to the Match Ball 30, he was Luton Town's goalkeeper in 1990, and he played in that game. Adrian Mariappa, Chris Eagles, Alban Guerra and Hemo Boaza, with Adi Boothroyd in charge. But the Ben Foster is still,
I feel like we've gone a little bit off message.
Well, Ben Foster played today.
This is the match ball.
Ben Foster played. What did you think of his performance?
Rubbish.
Yeah, like the rest of them, really, wasn't it? Although I'm hoping he stuck his camera in the goal mouth, because that would be good to just really capture him pleading for the ball back from the south stand.
He did have the decency to applaud the cop, so he got the old fuck off.
Yeah, and he did the grin as well. He had the little rueful, you got me.
Maybe they're clapping because of the England.
Yes, because I played for Scum
or something. Yeah.
But it was a good atmosphere towards the end, didn't you think? I thought so.
No, I mean, towards the end, it was fucking fractious. Everybody was on edge.
No,
anxious,
but
crying.
I mean, like,
there were children weeping.
It manifested itself in getting behind the team, which is important under that. I don't think we were consumed by tension, even though there was a lot of tension in the ground.
I don't know where you were sitting.
Oh,
I felt it was pretty tense around me.
The West Stand was awash with anxious vomit. Like especially the silence after Llorente went down, apparently injured, was really like, oh, here we go. And that foul throw business had a real, we need to, like, people were turning away, like unable to watch the rest of this. It was weird because you always had in the back of your mind the fact that Watford were no good whatsoever. So you didn't really feel like it was going to come to anything. But when you've had 6 games without a win, and when did we last see Leeds United win a game, assuming we're not counting Crewe? It was May, and it's now October. So the feeling is unfamiliar.
That's true. God, that's a long time, isn't it?
And that's that was definitely felt communicated through where I was sitting with the two ends. I was in the middle of them all.
I've just seen Adam Pope's post-match quotes from Bielsa saying that Harrison was only going to come on if necessary because he's had an important pain in his obliques. Are your obliques all right?
It's getting more. This is like Cock and his rebellious pubis. He's getting more and more oblique with his injury assessments. Yeah, it was because it was surprising that little Danny Jameson started, but he took advantage of the fact that he couldn't do it. For Joffy fans, he was doing a lot of warming up in the second half.
How did he look warming up?
I mean, just like Maradona and
with a great deal of
combined.
Promise, was he?
Yeah.
Did he reach peak warmth?
It was hard to tell, but yeah, he seemed fine in the warm up. It was him, Jackie, and Pascal were doing most of the warming up, with a bit of Chris Glass when Melier went down because his shoulder got a kick. But yeah, it is one of those games where I would have been surprised if there'd been any changes apart from Stuart Dallas going down injured, because it just felt we just had to keep going. And we were either going to score another one or not. And it is a bit of a shame that the only goal came from a bit of a shambles from Watford. It got the corner got flicked on at the front post by, I think, one of their players, and then one of their players stopped it from going to the back post, but just gave it to Llorente. And to be fair to Llorente, it was a good finish. It wasn't easy. He had to do a little bit of work to make sure it went in the net.
I enjoyed him today. I enjoyed everything about him today, even the bits where I went, bloody hell, Diego.
Yeah,
did you see his quotes about the goal?
No.
I found the ball near me and I didn't think. I just kicked it and have a look.
There we go.
He's been listening, hasn't he?
There you go.
Yeah,
listening.
Even those like short little 3-yard passes to Melier in the 6-yard box, I like it. Yeah. I welcome it. And also, I remember in the first half, Firpo did a really good tackle, and you remember those now because you're waiting for him. Now Bielsa said as well that he's always over a 6 but never over a 7. That you kind of were looking for these notches of where Firpo's improving. Really good Firpo tackles. I was like, yeah, great. And I looked up and Llorente's just giving them the ball for no reason. Go ahead, have a shot. Yeah. You deserved it. Firpo fluked that. Have a shot. But yeah, the madness of Llorente is that first minute overhead kick.
Yeah. That's what you want.
Yes.
What do you want from your centre halves if it's not that?
This is it. I mean, Charlie Creswell, he was good last week and all, but did he do any overhead kicks? No. So there's something for him to work on. Little hint, Charlie. A little bit more flair. That's what we're looking for you if you want to keep your place.
Never mind your muscular neck.
And have you seen the him and Joffy talking to the kids on the Elliot TV
not
video?
yet, actually.
I swear Charlie Creswell is like 40 years old. It's extraordinary. He's not 19 by any measure. The maturity of the
pumping him full of growth hormone.
Well, it's not even his height. It's the way he speaks and the way he presents himself and comes across. It's as if he was reviewing captaining England in the World Cup final and, how we'd kept the lads together and all this stuff. Although there was a nice deal that when they said, if you weren't a footballer, what would you be? And he said, a rock star.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Either a rock star or a TV presenter.
I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. That'd be brilliant.
Joffy just said that if he wasn't a footballer, he'd probably get a job in football.
Speaking of kids, I mean, I don't know about you, hasn't it really taken the shine off what was a nice day otherwise?
The pitch invasion.
I mean, like
Awful scenes.
it's not the sort of kind of behaviour you want to see in the Premier League, is it?
Could have had a knife.
Oh.
Mm.
A lot of 7-year-olds carry knives to football matches.
too.
Was that child even 7?
Who knows?
I thought it was an absolutely golden opportunity for a steward to do exactly what they did to the invading West Ham fans last week and take that little fucker out.
Well,
Straight to the cell.
we need to cut live to Peter Beagrie, don't we?
Yeah, well, if you missed it, if you weren't in the ground, there was a very small child made a solo pitch invasion over towards the players, and it was a nice moment because there was that sort of moment afterwards. Wasn't
Nice.
There was that moment in the wake of it when they started running back towards the stands, and the stewards were thinking, "What do we do about this?" Because that's a very small child, and all the fans are like, "It's just just let them go, let them get back into the stand and go see their parents." And there was just that momentary. Surely you're not going to haul them off here, are you? But it would have been quite funny if they did.
Put them in prison. That's what I say. They only got as far as Jamie Shack as well. I don't know if they wanted. They had
Towered over him.
They had a Rafinha shirt on. Hey,
Speaking of Jamie Shack,
Swap shirts.
he was a candidate for my man of the match today.
very good. He was very good. He's a very good player.
It's funny because they Watford seem to be targeting his side.
Mm.
Most of their attacks were there. There was one, and I think he only made one mistake where he kind of got drawn to a header, and then it went in behind, and Llorente couldn't stop the cross, so Cooper blocked it. That was the only time I thought you could say that one of his feet was even slightly wrong.
Mm.
But yeah, and then everything going forward. But it just speaks to Watford's total lack of imagination that we've got. Shackleton is young and small, and so is Dan James. So they'll just go like, "Oh, attack them," and then they're really good, so it don't work. And they go, "Well, we tried."
What else are we going to do?
Yeah. What time's bus home?
Didn't try hard enough, did they?
They were awful.
If not Shaq, who would you have as man of the match?
The first half, Rafinha. I thought Stuart Dallas was maybe not man of the match, but was much better until he got himself all hurt.
Click was decent, I thought.
Yeah, Click was good. I'd give it Llorente because he scored.
Mm-hmm.
So clean sheet, goal from a defender, come back from injury.
Didn't get injured again.
No,
But as far as we know.
pretended.
Mm.
And so he'd probably be a candidate.
Mm.
So it's between him and Jamie Shackleton, and if they were to fight for it, I think Diego would win because he looks mad.
Mm. Well done. Yeah, towards the end, I thought there were some heavy legs in that side. You started seeing players like playing percentage balls. Like Dan James, you could see was just like labouring up and down that right hand side for a spell. And I think I don't know if it's his gangster limp or whether he's just got a slight kind of he had a little niggle on his right leg where he's trotting around, slightly laboured, heavy legged, if that's the phrase.
A heavy leg Dan James would run 10 times faster than you.
So. I understand that, and I agree. But I know, he got a ball, and they just started whipping percentage balls in. And I know Click started doing it towards the end. You know, we had that strange period when we were trying to walk it in as well to get the second. But I thought the second should
It was
have gone.
about 85 minutes of trying to walk it in.
That's true. Yeah.
And then towards the end, you're right, it did just become clearances. I was pleased to see Firpo just sticking his laces through it from defence and sending it as far downfield as he could. And that began. We had to have that few minutes of doing that, but that was the only time we had any problems with them.
Yeah, they weren't great at all. I don't think they posed as any major threat apart from a few moments.
So the two sides of it are they weren't great and we didn't let them get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. There was not a question of they had 5 minutes at the end, but for the rest of the game we were on top of them because they were so bad. Not because they were so bad, but because recognising they were so bad, we didn't let them kind of play into the game. It didn't become 15 minutes in the second half. It wasn't a case of the West Ham game where you could ever feel the balance of the match going in a different direction. It was just, they're terrible, let's batter them all the way through the game. And we did, and it's just, some shooting practice is probably in order. But then some of the players, I suppose Click will be away with Poland, won't he? Dallas with Northern Ireland. Maybe they'll do some, because Bielsa doesn't really believe in, finishing so much, does he? He thinks that's kind of, it's up to the players, but maybe that's one good thing that the international managers can do is while you're away from the bad man, just do some shooting practice. And I won't tell him, even though he'll definitely know.
So overall feelings on tonight then, sense of relief, joy?
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, in fact, I know we've looked at these before. The Sofa Score graphs to show who's had the pressure in the game.
It's the momentum graph.
It's just Leeds.
Yes, of course.
They're not always massive peaks, so we're not always putting them under huge amounts of pressure. But it is just all Leeds.
We kind of played our way out. Is the expected goals on there?
I saw it earlier.
Expected goals.
It was like 1.5 to 0.24 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't going to ever be huge for us because I think we played our way out of some good chances. That they may have had a bigger XG value had they been just taken as shots, but then they probably would have gone over the bar anyway, so the XG value would have been irrelevant under those circumstances. But I think, some good positions where you just think, maybe, I don't know if it may be a confidence thing in attack, if we've not scored many goals, or whether it's just the style of the players that we have is a little bit more kind of, they want to do the layoff and let somebody else finish, and they want to get as close in as possible. But there were some opportunities there today to just really batter the ball past that loser in goal. And
but you can afford
really take them.
You can afford to be a bit more wasteful against a team that's not that good. Like that, they were not good. So
so it's
like our profligacy didn't count against us today because they weren't particularly good going forward.
I would enjoy playing them every week. I know that's kind of a cliche thing to say, but if there's more teams as bad as that in this division, then I don't think we're going to have a problem staying up.
Nice, good. I'm pleased. Thank God for that.
Let's not go down now.
Yeah, safe from relegation. Which is target unlocked, achievement unlocked, isn't it?
Where are we in the league? Let's look.
We've been
16. 16. Okay, I know we've been ignoring the table so far.
I mean, they're 13th. Imagine where they were as well before we beat them.
14th they are now, but still, nah.
Well, they must have been even higher than that at the start of the match.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll reconvene after the weekend. We'll sit down on Tuesday, get through the propaganda, where we'll find out what you thought, feedback on this match ball, and what they thought as well.
I imagine there just aren't any Watford
fan
YouTube
channels, no.
or podcast.
Well, if
things,
not, we could just talk about Elton John.
Because they're probably not that bothered.
Yeah.
Probably just like, we could do one, but...
Check for Ben Foster with his GoPro. That'll be about the only thing, won't it? I hope he did bring it.
And I think we shall wrap it up there then. Cheers for watching and listening, and we can watch Match of the Day, can't we, tonight, and actually enjoy it, which is good news. We'll see you in a bit.
The Match Ball.